What up, reader fam? Today I'm bringing you a book haul! I haven't done one in a while because I've been doing this thing where I actually read my books instead of just let them sit there unread. It's been a good time, I've been really enjoying it. But I've accumulated like 9 books since my last book haul, so I thought that I would share them with you today. So let me share them with you, my friends, my fellow fiction-loving, word-reading, book-petting friends. Let's get started. I first picked up the graphic novel adaptation for Wapa! Clockwork Angel, the first book in the Infernal Devices trilogy. One of the reasons that I picked up this graphic novel is because Booksplosion is actually reading this for the month of April. The other reason is that I just really wanted to read the graphic novel. So since this is our Booksplosion book of the month, I decided that I would pick up the graphic novel adaptation and read the graphic novel. I'm also going to be rereading the book using the audiobook, so I will be fully prepared for this live show discussion, which is happening on April 28th. So if you haven't picked up this book and read it, pick it up and join us for the live show. I've been really interested in reading the graphic novel for this series because I myself just love graphic novels. And even though this is a graphic novel, I feel like the art style reminds me of a lot of manga out there. The art style is very much so similar to manga art. But either way, I'm excited to reread this story in this graphic novel format. Also, just to keep you guys in the loop, if you guys want to join us for the upcoming Booksplosion books of the month, our May book of the month is The Earth, My Butt, and Other Big Round Things. I know it's got quite the title, but consider me intrigued. And our June book of the month is going to be Now I Rise by Kirsten White, which is the sequel to And I Darken. So if any of these titles sound interesting to you, be sure and pick them up and join us these upcoming months. Next up, as a part of a paid promotion with Adaptive Books, I was sent Wapa! False Idols! I really dig the coloring on the cover here. It almost makes me want to do the video in this style as well. This makes me feel cooler than I actually am. I'm not that cool, but this makes me feel pretty cool. So this book is a political thriller that takes place in the art world, and we follow our main character Layla, who has just moved from Egypt to the United States, which is already in and of itself a big adventure. But she's about to embark on an even bigger journey as an FBI agent. She's going to pose undercover in Cairo as an heiress. And the reason she's doing this is because she's going to get to the bottom of why this tanker ship full of stolen art pieces and antiques was taken and shipped to New York. While she knows that she is more than capable of getting the job done, she also finds it a lot more complicated when she gets in the middle of it, and she begins to question where her loyalties lie. So this book actually developed online on a service called SerialBox, where you could like read a section of the story each month. And it's still up on that service, which I will leave a link to down below if you're interested in that, because they have a ton of other stories on their service. So they eventually connected all the story pieces, and well, bam, they have collected them into a full-fledged book. What I actually find interesting is that they have 3 different authors who contributed to the story. So they all took part in making this book possible, which I think is really cool. We've heard of author duos, but we hardly ever hear of 3 people contributing to a book. That actually randomly just sparked an idea in my head. A love triangle between 3 authors writing the same book. I hate love triangles, but that honestly sounds like a book I'd read. Anyways, back to this here fine and dandy book. This book sounds like it's got a complicated storyline, which I'm always a fan of. It's got action, it's got mystery, it's got romance. Count me in. Next up, I got my hands on Whoa! Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon McGuire. This is the sequel to Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire, which I actually haven't even finished reading this book yet, but I got like 2 chapters into it and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna need to go get that sequel right now. And not because I think it's going to end on a cliffhanger or anything, because I don't see that happening, but just because I'm loving Every Heart a Doorway that much. It's been a while since I've loved a book like I'm loving this one. Every Heart a Doorway has walked into the doorway of my heart. I honestly should already be done with this book because it's only like 150 pages, but I just don't want it to end. This series takes place at a home for children who have come back from going through a magical portal. At this home, they learn how to adjust from going to that magical world to coming back to the real world, because there is a lot that they have to deal with and adjust to when going to a magical world and then coming back. It's a pretty great series. Obviously, I haven't finished it yet, so I can't fully recommend it, but I'm loving every bit of it so far, and I'm hoping to do full book reviews on each of these books as soon as I kick my book reading butt into gear and finish reading them. Next up, I picked up this poetry collection called Pillow Thoughts by Courtney PEPPERNELL. I've seen poems from this collection all over Instagram, and every little snippet that I saw I loved, and so I just had to have it. This collection covers a lot of different topics. We cover things like heartache, loneliness, love, dreams, and sadness, and I'm sure other things, but that's as far as I know. I'm pretty picky when it comes to poetry, but I have a good feeling when it comes to this one, just because I've loved every little bit of this collection that I've seen so far. I've been let down by some modern poetry, but hopefully this one picks me right up. Next up, I got The Astonishing Color of After by Emily XR Japan, and this book was actually sent to me by Novel, but they are not spawning this video. This is one of those books where you read the description and you go, say what? But basically we follow this girl named Lee who is half Asian, half white, and her mother died by suicide and in doing so turned herself into a bird. A little on the strange side of things, I know. So Lee decides to travel to Taiwan to try and find the bird that her mother has turned into. In doing so, she uncovers a lot of family secrets, she ends up chasing a ghost, and forms a great relationship with her grandparents. There is a lot going on with this book, and I really hope that this girl finds her bird mom. I'm really rooting for her. But gosh dang, I can't help but be a little bit on the doubtful side of things. Maybe it'll be easy for her to find her bird mom because they're connected, they're linked, they're mother-daughter here. I've seen a lot of people reading and loving this book recently, so I'm stoked to pick it up and fly through it. Get it? Because birds fly. Flap, flap. Haha. Next up, I got my first Robin Hobb book, which I'm super excited about. I've been wanting to read a book by Robin Hobb for the longest time, so I finally picked up The Assassin's Apprentice in this beautiful edition. I'm kind of obsessed with this, I'm not gonna lie. It's beautiful, and that spine though, it is a glorious spine. I wish that I had a spine that looked like that. What am I even saying anymore? So this is book 1 in the Farseer trilogy. It takes place in the Kingdom of the Six Duchies, which is about to have a massive war breakout. It's revealed that the Crown Prince has a child with a woman he is not married to, which apparently in this world is not good. And sadly, this child ends up becoming despised and hated. The boy ends up being raised in the castle stables and is trained to become an assassin. The only thing is that this boy is in danger because his tutor ends up being aligned with an opposing political faction. The boy must fight to stay alive, but he also must fight for his kingdom that hates him. I could be pretty off on the description, but that's what I gathered with the back of this book, but either way, it sounds really interesting to me, and I already feel terrible for our main character Fitz. Like, it's not his fault that his parents did the thing that they did. You should be throwing your sticks and stones and your nasty judgments at his parents, not at Fitz. They're responsible here. I'll be honest, I'm kind of a pot of nerves to start this book. That's dramatic. I'm not nervous, I'm hesitant. Because I believe Robin Hobb's books are a lot like Cassandra Clare's books, and that they're all kind of connected together. So we have this trilogy, we have another trilogy, we have a series, we have all these different stories that in some way connect. So starting this book is the start of a massive web that continues to grow and get bigger, and I'm about to get caught up in it. And hopefully I don't get attacked by no spider on this web because I'm not here for that. I've been wanting to read a book by Robin Hobb for the longest time though, because she is like one of the queens of fantasy, and I'm really excited to see what she has to offer with this first book. Next up, I got Want by Cindy Pon. This is a sci-fi young adult story that I've been wanting to read for the longest time, and I finally picked it up after it being out for nearly a year. Better late than never, right? It takes place in this divided society where the elite are able to use their wealth in order to live longer lives. And on the opposite end of things, we have the people who are not wealthy and end up suffering illnesses that eventually lead to death. And our main character Cho, which I think that's how you say his name, has had enough. After losing his mother, he's lit with a fight for revenge. So he masters up this plan to fight for the less fortunate. I honestly haven't heard too many booktube peeps talk about this book, which kind of has me a little bit excited. I really like going into a book not knowing what people's reactions of that book are. It's also a sci-fi book, and I've been wanting to read a lot more sci-fi, even though I've been failing hardcore at that challenge so far this year. But the year is far from over, so there's still more time to read more sci-fi. Next up, I got arguably the most hyped book of the year so far, and that is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Even though this is like one of the most hyped books of the year, I feel like the reactions have been super split up. People love it on one side and people hate it on the other side. I'm really interested to see what side I land on. Am I gonna love it? Am I gonna hate it? I'm interested to find out. This story follows Jude and her two sisters, and after her parents are killed, they are taken to live at the High Court of Fairy. After living in Fairy for 10 years, Jude decides that she wants to become a part of this world. But that's not something that happens very easily because the Fairy hate humans. In order for her to cement her spot in Fairy, she must defy the prince. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit hesitant on this book, not only because of the hype, but I'm also currently in the middle of reading a book by Holly Black. It's The Coldest Girl in Cold Town. Mind you, I haven't finished the book, but what I've read of it so far, I haven't enjoyed that much. So with that in mind, I'm a little bit nervous about this book. But this book also covers a completely different world, so I'm hoping that I end up loving it like everyone else. And the last book that I picked up recently is one that I've held off from buying for so long, and that is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I honestly haven't heard that many reactions on this book, and I want to keep it that way. I don't want to know what people are thinking about this book, but I'm super excited to read this book because it's one that I've just had on my mind for the longest time. You know when you want to pick up a book, but you're not sure if you're interested in it, or you just want to impulse buy a book, so you hold off from buying the book because you want to see if you actually really want to read that book, and then your mind is just like plagued with the thought of the book. That's what happened here. I couldn't stop thinking about this book the second I heard about it. So I picked it up, and I got the pretty full Target edition, which has this amazing hardback. Look at that, just glorious, so beautiful. This is a superhero book, which honestly should have been the first flag that I should pick this book up because I love superheroes. We've got two sides. We've got the Renegades, and then we've got the side of the Anarchists, which I believe the Anarchists are the superheroes gone bad. So in this world, the Anarchists are trying to take out the Renegades. I loved the Lunar Chronicles series by Marissa Meyer, so here's to hoping that Renegades ends up attending the Jesse the Reader 2018 Book Love Fest. We shall see. So those are all the books that I have to share with you guys today. You should let me know down below in the comments if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them. I'd love to hear from you. Unless it's on Renegades, I don't want to hear any reactions to Renegades. But if you want to talk about it, it's okay. Just talk about it in the comments. I'll probably read them anyways because I love you guys. But also let me know down below in the comments some books that you've picked up recently. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and click the little bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thanks for watching guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew.